The Cannabis Investor Spotlight Series is sponsored by Integrated CBD, an institutional-grade supplier of organically grown hemp and hemp-derived CBD. Integrated CBD's 10,000 acres of drip-irrigated farmland in Arizona allows for sustainable year-round growing. Combine that with their USDA organic certification and their 154,000 square foot extraction facility, and Integrated CBD is able to deliver unmatched uniformity and consistency that scales with your phytocannabinoid needs. Integrated CBD then goes even further, providing complete transparency into their products by tracking and tracing their CBD from seed to lab to bottles through an exclusive partnership with Verified Organic, a blockchain solution that records and verifies each step of the organic production. To learn how Integrated CBD's vertically integrated, single origin, fully transparent solution scales to meet your company's hemp and CBD needs, visit integrated-cbd.com. Mention that you heard it on this podcast and receive 5% off your first year orders. Terms and conditions apply. That's integrated-cbd.com to receive 5% off all your first year orders. Integrated CBD, the certified USDA organic, fully traceable hemp-derived phytocannabinoid solution that delivers at institutional scale.
On the other hand, I'd say that a lot of these more institutional investors, they're starting to get educated on the space. We have a lot of people that want to talk to us and learn about what we're doing, even if they can't invest or they don't think they're going to be able to invest for 2 or 3 years. Everyone certainly sees kind of the tidal wave coming, if you will.
From MJBulls Media, it's the Raising Cannabis Capital Show. I'm Dan Humiston, and on today's show, what are the next big cannabis business and investment opportunities? Top cannabis investors share their 2020 investment strategies. Today on Raising Cannabis Capital, we are continuing this month's Cannabis Investor Spotlight Series with Pete Karabas from Key Investment Partners. Pete, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Well, one thing, I say is that to hunt elephants, you really have to go where the elephants are. And a great place to find early-stage cannabis elephants, aka companies, with experienced management teams is Colorado, because Colorado was the first adult-use state. So a lot of cannabis companies got started there. Is that one of the reasons why you guys based yourselves in Denver?
Yeah, Dan, exactly. I mean, we think being in Denver is very important, especially as a venture capital fund focused in cannabis. I really liken Denver to Silicon Valley of cannabis. Many of the top opportunities, they're run by CEOs. They're right down the road from us. I think it's really important just to have the ability to meet with these CEOs in person, grab lunch, grab drinks, go to their offices, get to know their staff, and, above all else, really just develop personal relationship. We think this would be just really difficult to do through a fund, say out in New York, just going and doing your diligence on a lot of these companies. POS systems, for example, we were looking at a few different POS systems out here in Denver. In addition to going and meeting the management teams, getting to know them in person, we really do what we call a key boots on the ground due diligence. We're going out to dispensaries. We're talking to bud tenders. We're saying, what do you like? What do you not like with these POS systems? Yep. We just don't think there's a substitute for this kind of due diligence.
No way. And even if you were just to travel, like I know a lot of people spend countless hours on the plane traveling back and forth, you can put on a good face for a half a day. But if you are just, hey, you know what, I'm going to pop in, I want a quick question. You're going to find all the warts. You're going to find all the really good things, too, that you may have overlooked. I think that's a huge advantage.
No, you're exactly right. We feel the exact same way. In addition to that, I think it's very important to be out here to build relationships with CEOs early on. One of the most well-known cannabis accelerators out here is called Canopy Boulder. We like to go and get to know some of these companies when they're really just ideas and get to know the CEOs personally, understand what their goals are, see their ideas develop over time. The goal for us is really to be their friends, their network. When they've built a business that's ready to take capital, we want to be the first guys they call.
I think that's really important. I really do. Especially, like you said, Canopy Boulder right there. great incubator. There's lots of opportunity, a lot of good ideas coming out of there that could be the future.
Actually, our first investment was in the well-known cannabis data analytics company, BDS Analytics, which was a Canopy Boulder company originally. Now that's one of the more well-known ancillary companies out there.
Oh, sure. They're really well known. We've had a bunch of companies that got their start at Canopy Boulder on our show. It's, you mentioned POS systems. What are some of the other sectors within the cannabis industry that you like?
What we say is we really like, I jokingly call it the boring stuff sometimes. We like the tools that different cannabis companies, dispensaries or cultivators or whoever, branded products are going to need to take their business to the next level. So what I mean by that is needs-based software and business services. So think payroll and HR solutions, think data analytics, compliance software, tax software, POS systems, things like this that are really a necessity to run, let's say, a cultivator or a dispensary.
Yeah.
We're not so much investing in things that are too speculative. We're just trying to find what we call the picks and shovels. We want to focus on infrastructure play and the supporting businesses.
I think a lot of that is based on your upbringing, but we're going to get to that towards the end of the interview. But let's stay on this same line of questioning. A lot of CEOs listen to this show. If there's one thing that you'd recommend that they could do to improve their ability to get funding, what would it be?
Well, above all else, I'd say you got to know how to explain your business and what it does in 30 to 60 seconds. There's too many CEOs today that, they might have a good idea, but then they have all these other different business lines. They want to tell you what they're going to do over the next 5 years and how they're going to monetize all the data that they collect. If there's one thing it's that your business plan today is certainly not going to be your business plan in 6 months or the 6 months after that. So just focus on your primary business. How is that going to generate money? How is that going to do so in the next 1-2 years? And what's the pathway and the steps to get there, including how much money you need, how you're going to spend it, and be realistic.
And I think that's one of the problems with this industry is there is just so many opportunities. And I think a lot of early stage companies are like, well, we could always tack over here, or we could do this, or we could do that. And when they're talking to an investor, they think that is helpful, but it actually gets confusing. And you question whether or not they know what their core business is.
Oh, yeah. One thing I always say is if I'm a CEO pitching to a VC, I want to be able to quickly explain how I'm going to generate revenue, what my core business is, how long it's going to take, how much money I need. Focus on what you're going to do in the next 2 or 3 years, I think is the best advice.
I would much rather hear no than maybe. I hate maybe.
Exactly right. At Key, we're focused on the ancillary sector. We have a very specific criteria, boxes to check of investments we're going to make. Just because you explain your product to us and it doesn't fit for us, doesn't mean you have a bad business. So I wouldn't take it personally. If you talk to 20 different types of investors and you're trying to raise capital as a cannabis CEO, maybe 1 or 2 of those is looking for the type of investment you're offering. Just because the vast majority aren't doesn't mean you have a bad business. It might just not be the right fit. And so you should always be okay with that too.
I'd like to take a quick break to thank one of our sponsors, Creating Better Days, and their line of high-quality CBD products. The benefits of including CBD into your wellness lifestyle are well documented. But with so many brands, it's hard to know which one to trust. Creating Better Days' manufacturing process includes an additional step that includes nano-emulsification technology, making their products more effective, faster absorbent, and more potent. And with the transparency of specific QR codes and lot numbers on each package, you can be confident that you always receive the highest quality CBD from U.S.-grown hemp. To learn more about Creating Better Days' high-quality CBD products and to receive 20% off today's order, go to creatingbetterdays.com and use coupon code RAISING at checkout. That's creatingbetterdays.com, coupon code RAISING at checkout. Creating Better Days, trusted, high-quality hemp CBD products. Let's switch to a little bit more about your experience. Your team comes with a lot of experience working with pension funds and endowments. The industry is sort of sitting here going, when's it coming? When is this going to eventually make it to the cannabis industry? Have you seen any of that activity yet?
Today, it's primarily family offices, high net worth individuals, registered investment advisors. and much less so your big pension funds, your big endowments or sovereign wealth funds or anything like that. I think that's partly due to what are called vice clauses, which basically restrict any investment in firearms, alcohol, marijuana, pornography, anything like that. So I think some funds with vice clauses, even post the lift of federal prohibition, will still have restrictions on investing in cannabis. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I'd say that a lot of these more institutional investors, they're starting to get educated on the space. We have a lot of people that want to talk to us and learn about what we're doing, even if they can't invest or they don't think they're going to be able to invest for 2 or 3 years. Everyone certainly sees kind of the tidal wave coming, if you will. What I would say is that it's important for us as an investment manager to position ourselves in a way so when that does happen, we have the experience, we've looked at the deals, we know the landscape and the spectrum of what's out there in cannabis. So when those folks finally do jump off the diving board and jump into the pool, we'll be ready there to help them navigate the space.
And I think especially given your experience, you know what is important to them and how best to manage their expectations. And just by speaking what you said earlier in the interview about your disciplined approach to investing, it probably all fits into that bigger picture.
So you're absolutely right. When we really founded the company, we found it because we looked around and we said, okay, there's a ton of opportunity here. That's not a mystery. But what we really found is there's a lack of institutional quality investment managers in the space. And what I mean by that is really investment managers putting together a diversified fund of investments to take out risk, who know how to screen investments through a replicable process that's documented, that's acceptable for a large institution like a pension fund. Additionally, we follow a 4-stage investment committee process. It's all documented. We go through intense due diligence. We assess the management team, doing comprehensive financial and market due diligence. We're doing customer calls, reference checks, and our legal work got to be top notch. At Key, we work with Cooley, is a very well-known law firm from Silicon Valley. They've done quite a bit of venture capital work throughout their day. Our goal with working with a law firm like that is really to raise the standard. We invest in a company, we want it to be watertight from a legal standpoint. We don't want any surprises. We want everything that's going to be discovered is going to be discovered before we're going to put dollars into any given deal. And then when you get towards the point where you're going to exit a deal, you don't want any surprises. You want to know you own what you bought. You don't want any lawsuits. That's really what we mean when we say institutional quality.
It's refreshing to hear that you're setting these high standards. Well, we've been speaking with Pete from Key Investment Partners, and we'll have all of his contact information on the MJBulls website. So if you're a company that's raising money to expand, or if you're an accredited investor and want to invest in the industry, reach out to Pete at Key Investment Partners. Pete, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks a lot, Dan. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah, good luck. Keep this going.
Absolutely. We're really excited about it.
Today's show was made possible by the generous support of our sponsors, like Helix TCS, the leading provider of critical infrastructure services to the legal cannabis industry. Recently, Helix's president of data services and former New York Stock Exchange executive Garvis Toller was a guest on the show to discuss cannabis capital markets and how savvy businesses and investors are capitalizing on the recent downturn. Tune into episode 152 to learn more. Today's podcast was produced by MJBulls Media, the industry's premier cannabis podcast network, with original music produced in part by Jamie Humiston. I'm Dan Humiston, and you've been listening to the Raising Cannabis Capital Podcast.